Today, Terraform Labs fires back at South Korea's investigation of the company and its founder, Do Kwon. New polling exclusive to CNBC finds voter interest in crypto is growing ahead of the midterms. And Sylvia Jablonski of Defiance ETFs breaks down the latest in altcoin performance. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea Mikeel. Cryptocurrencies off the morning lows despite a steep sell-off on Wall Street. Bitcoin held above $19,000 by noon Eastern, and Ether traded above $1,300. Meanwhile, Avalanche dipped to $17. We're going to talk more about crypto markets with today's guest, but before that, let's get you caught up on some stories you should know. First, Terraform Labs is firing back at South Korean officials as the hunt for the company's founder continues. In a statement sent to us, a spokesperson for the company behind Terra USD and Luna said the case against its founder, Do Kwon, had become unfair and, quote, highly politicized. The spokesperson rejected South Korean charges over a $60 billion crypto collapse, saying there is no reasonable basis under Korean law for a claim that any action by Do Kwon or TFL criminally violated the Korean Capital Markets Act. The spokesperson doubled down on Kwon's prior public comments on Twitter that he is not on the run and that he remains actively involved in the management and oversight of Terraform Labs. This comes days after Interpol reportedly issued a red notice for Kwon, which asks international law enforcement to arrest a fugitive in the hopes of extradition or prosecution. South Korean officials say they've been unable to track him down. The Terraform Labs spokesperson said that Kwon's location has been a private matter for months because of security risks to him and his family. Next, new polling provided to CNBC exclusively reveals how crypto-friendly voters could help shape the outcome of the midterm elections. The poll by Han Ventures shows that in some of the most critical swing states, there are more voters who hold crypto than a union membership card. The survey showed that 18% of voters in New Hampshire, Nevada, Ohio, and Pennsylvania hold crypto or NFTs, and that most of them are working-class voters. About a third are minorities, and they tend to be young, with the majority being between 18 and 44 years old.
If you're a Democrat and you're looking at this data, right, these are voters who are younger, who are voters of color. Those are the types of voters you really need to turn out and speak to for them to turn out. And if you're a Republican and you're looking at the data out there, these are clearly voters where there's a potential to be able to talk to them about some of these economic anxiety issues.
Finally, the SEC claims the company behind the digital coin Hydro, along with another firm, tried to artificially inflate the token's price. Yesterday, the SEC announced charges against the Hydrogen Technology Corporation, its former CEO, and the CEO of self-described market-making firm Moonwalkers Trading Limited. The agency alleges they carried out a scheme to manipulate the trading volume and price, which the SEC says generated more than $2 million for hydrogen. One way the token was allegedly given away was through an airdrop. Another was through bounty programs, which paid people Hydro tokens in exchange for promotion. We reached out to Hydrogen and the company's former CEO for comment, but as of 12:30 Eastern, we hadn't heard back yet. However, Bloomberg reported that Hydrogen said the SEC's case, quote, wholly lacks merit. All right, turning back to markets for our main story, I spoke with Sylvia Jablonski of Defiance ETFs about altcoin performance and a new way to short crypto equities as prices continue to fall. What do you make of the moves in crypto today? And, we're coming up on the end of the month here. So just what's your view for the rest of the year, considering we're at the end of September?
It's on this murky market day, whether it's crypto or anything else. And I think that's sort of where my answer will go, right? I think that crypto has now, or at least this year, proven to be an asset that is viewed in a similar way as a high growth stock or, a tech stock or something along those lines. I think it's become, sort of commercial enough where people plug it into that risky asset category and not necessarily like this, unique, isolated thing that's going to be great when inflation pops and it's going to be the new gold and things like that. You got that 193,000 number. Market didn't like it. It tells us that the Fed can just keep on going as he, Fed Chair Powell claims he will. And I think it just sort of stokes the fears and puts panic into investors and traders that, this inflation we're now sort of feeling it.
I know you take a longer term view on Bitcoin. Chart analysts have said, if it fails to hold at 19K, there could be a lot more pain. And it has been kind of just like bumbling around with the 19,000 $30,000 level. So is there another level that you're looking at? Is there a bottom that you're looking at?
If I look at that S&P, right, we sort of went through that June intraday low, that lowest low, but we're hanging out. We're not far from it. So I think it's sort of, again, just proving to have a similar type of path, right? And I think if we get, sort of well below that level, that 3,600 level, which I didn't think we would do, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if crypto then kind of goes to that, maybe next tranche of 15,000 or so. My suspicion is that we're in a fairly orderly trading range. It's very unpleasant. I think that, volatility is essentially going to continue both in crypto markets and in equity markets. And you're going to have these kind of, rips and we've seen Bitcoin move above 20,000, right, in the last couple of days, but it's sort of headed right back down to 18 and settles up in the 19,000 range. So I just expect crypto to kind of hang out here where it is, unless we see a massive equity market pullback. I think that crypto is just proving that it's correlated with equities, and particularly sort of, equities that are known as risk equities and kind of like the higher growth names. And so if that happens, we see a big pullback in equities. I wouldn't be surprised to see that next level of 15,000 or so hit.
Defiance actually launched IBIT recently. Before I move on with that, tell us about IBIT, when it launched, what it is, why you launched it.
Yeah, so IBIT is essentially a fund that is meant to allow investors to gain from the falling in price, or kind of the depreciation of the crypto-related digital asset, blockchain technology related firms. So as I said, long term, we all sort of see the use case and the growth case and whatnot, but on a daily basis, the market is getting absolutely crushed. I just saw this morning a bunch of analysts came out and said they expect Coinbase stock to fall even further because of compression in fees, because of FTX coming in and really bringing strong competition to the space because of regulation. So there are, and not to pick on Coinbase, I mean, Robinhood, Coinbase, Galaxy, Silvergate, all of these companies that are now related to sort of crypto, mining, digital assets are getting hit like the market. We know Bitcoin's down, 70% or so from the top. And that's playing out. And so, we thought at Defiance, why not give investors a way to benefit from that, right? So the fund is up, and, past performance is not indicative of future, but, the market's getting crushed today, right? So that fund is up about 3% intraday. That can change in a minute, but the point is all of those stocks are falling to the tune of 2 to 3%. And by being short those names through the ETF, investors are benefiting.
What is going on right now, and just what's your outlook for the rest of the year with altcoins?
I think it's going to be a sort of game where Bitcoin and, Ether and, sort of post-merge, like those are going to be the two main digital asset classes or digital currencies that pique the interest of investors. I think with the altcoins, again, it's just, it's thinking about, sort of risk reward and what's going on in the market. And again, like, because I'm likening crypto and even altcoins to what's going on in tech, mega cap tech versus, high growth, those like X work from home trades that were all sort of taking off. And they're just sort of not anymore, right? Because of the interest rate environment. I think that, a lot of those coins are being thrown into the bucket of potentially too risky. I look at my account and like kind of look at the altcoins on a daily basis, and some of them, really rip for a day and then they kind of don't do anything for days to come. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in this space in terms of, which altcoins end up in like that leadership category.
If somebody is interested in looking towards the altcoins, presumably as like a long-term technology investment, what's a good way to approach that if you're new?
Yeah, I think, a good way to approach it if you just kind of have no idea. I think what's really interesting about crypto is that a lot of people who invest in these coins are just so well versed on one specific coin that they're, really bullish on. And it's sort of a different generation of traders too that have that technical expertise. But for sort of like the average retail trader that maybe just wants to get their feet wet with crypto and thinks like, okay, I want to your point, diversify outside of the top two, I would look at some of the top, just look at some of the top firms that are running these funds, right? I mean, there are a lot of them out there. You've got Grayscale, you've got Bitwise, you've got Securitize. You have these, sort of professional miners / crypto portfolio managers in the world that are doing a great job managing, various funds. And, while those funds at the moment are not performing quite well, their day will come, right? And the fact that they keep sort of investing in this space and launching new funds with altcoins and things like that, leads you to believe that, that they do have enough of sort of like research and have done the legwork and believe that there's a viable trade there. So, perhaps look to their legwork and to their, sort of research and get their feedback, take it to a professional. And I also think that, like, in terms of allocation, it should still sort of be like a smaller allocation within a portfolio, right? It's sort of debatable now whether, equities are even a good allocation. I fully believe that they are. But, obviously there's a lot of angst in the market. So I think that anything that's sort of like even higher risk than that, maybe you take like a small slice of your portfolio, 5% or so, and give it to somebody who like manages this stuff super well and knows the products themselves.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today, but we'll be back again tomorrow, so we'll see you then.